Welcome to the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alpha Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, yeah, people on Blue Sky cry that Twitter is no longer Blue Sky. Well, X is no longer Twitter, basically. People complain about the moon. I don't like. I understand not caring because I don't care. But being pissed off about it, come on, especially if you're from another country. Why do you care in the first place? Yeah, Europe seems to take a round side. Look, you can say that the war's unnecessary. You can say all these other things. You can't say that the Iranian regime's the good guys, even if you disagree with everything that Trump's doing. Apparently, there's 4-hour plan attack. We'll get more on that. And a 4-hour attack planned. I'll be here in a minute, I promise. And yeah, if there's time, we got another story. So let's start with this.
That's the summary. Speaking of Europe, a lot of those places they've banned or tried to ban or put limitations on X. Plenty of European nations have put bans on Rumble. Yeah. And this was part of the opening statement that I was going to have, we're still planning on going April 10th at UPenn. Wherever the left achieves power, free speech dies. Wherever free speech can thrive, the left dies. And you can see it quite clearly, too, with the lawsuits against big tech. When people say,
which is sad, considering if you think about where we were about 20 years ago, it was the exact opposite. What happened? I got one friend that likes to joke about it was when that Hadron Collider got turned on in 2008. That's when shit started going sideways. Not gonna lie, I don't have a compelling rebuttal to that, so pretty much just nuh-uh, but yeah.
Both the right and the left, they just use it as a cudgel. No. If you look at the lawfare, the right, the overwhelming number of, I don't even know if you can find a single suit to the opposite. Overwhelming number of lawsuits and complaints filed have been because of infringements on freedom of speech in the First Amendment. The lawsuits have been to open up more speech.
Yeah.
The left's lawsuits that you see against places like X, or in some cases Rumble, are to limit speech. They say you're letting hate speech thrive on your platform. We are not the same.
And that's, look, I think, quote unquote, hate speech is deplorable. People should be allowed to say whatever they want. Not, and when I say that, I mean with the exception of death threats and calling people to violence. We should be able to say whatever we want. Now, does that mean you won't get fired? No, that has never meant that you won't get fired. The only time I've said anything to the opposite is when people will send something you said online, or a lot of these people, to your boss or your local community members or something like that to try to cause you either physical or financial harm. That's that's what I'm against. Now, if you happen to say something online and your boss catches wind of it, or your wife catches wind of it, or something like that, someone who you're trying to hide this from catches wind of it, and that affects your life, that's the risk you take. But it's people going out of their way to ensure that happens, that someone who can fuck up your life finds out that you did or said this. And not even anything illegal, but that's what I disagree with. But again, that's just people being assholes and going out of their way to, it's like doxing. Yes, the information's public, but if you put it in an angry mob of commenters in an online space, then it becomes something else. Will someone search for it while they're in that place, that seeing red place? Some will, obviously, because that's how doxing happens. but it's not usually the people who would do something that do that. It's the cowards online who want to encourage other people to do their dirty work for them. You know, like Candace Owens, which we'll get to that.
And so now people are complaining that X is a right-wing echo chamber. I've heard people say that about Rumble. If you are watching and you are a leftist, I don't care if you are the Young Turks, if you are insert whoever here, I don't know, a Hassan guy who supports the communist regime in Cuba, you're just as free to upload to Rumble or post on X as I am. Guarantee you won't be banned. Can we say the same for those on the right, on Facebook?
And that's absolutely true. You can say whatever you want. I don't think Hassan would be able to be on Rumble because he does call for violence, which is not only illegal, it's against terms of service for every single platform. But he manages to get away with it because the CEO, Dan Clancy, loves Hassan Piker. Threw him a birthday party.
Book, Instagram, TikTok.
But that is 100% true, and I don't know how the left got this way. It's because they listen to the extremists, of course, but I don't know how we got here. I've seen it happening slowly over the last 10, 15 years in real time. Like little stuff, like when I was taking a group of my gay friends home, I was like, I had no idea where we were going. It was a new person in the car, had no idea where we were going. I was like, we were at a 4-way stop. I said left, right, or straight, and they're like, no, forward. And I said, you can get straight the fuck out of my car. Anyway, but you could see little things like this happening over time, and it's just. It's absolutely insane. But what he's saying is true. When X was Twitter, it was vastly of the left. And anyone who even had your most basic conservative, not even conservative, if anyone who disagreed with current thing was banned or flagged or anything to this effect. I mean, they're a business; they can do what they want, but you can't call yourself the free speech platform and ban people for only just having. And it was moderate shit. It was just people saying, you know, whatever, you know, the conservative stance on abortion or this or that, or just posting funny memes that made fun of people on the left. Who cares? Don't follow them. Like it's asinine. But you don't see it on the other end. You see people calling, like he's saying, Rumble and X now right-wing platforms. It's not true. Like they've done the research, and I think he'll show it later, where X is pretty 50-50 split. If not, it's still a little, you know, left-leaning. At least it was before Blue Sky. I think it's still pretty balanced since Blue Sky, because no one just does Blue Sky because people keep getting kicked off of there.
TikTok, anyway. Meta. Twitter before it became X. That's right, there was a Department of Misinformation. That's right, the Hunter Biden.
That's right, there was. And people laughed at the Department of Misinformation that they tried to kick off under Biden because it read a bit like, oh, God, that awful organization from the 5th book of Harry Potter with that bitch that made Harry Potter write lines and it carved into his hand. I will not tell lies. But that's how it read in real time. But some of the stuff that they were claiming to be misinformation 6 months later was proven fact. So it literally was just party line information. It wasn't actual fact. And then like, oh, well, it's not misinformation, it's disinformation. Shut up. You don't know what words mean.
The laptop story was censored. That's right, doctors were removed. Pre-vaccine for offering supplementary treatment with a novel virus. Right? So rather than going, hey, there's at least one spot where everyone can have these conversations, what inevitably happens is leftists leave. They try to take their ball and go home when they don't have control. And the left then goes, look, this platform is a hate speech platform. Well, how convenient. So Nate Silver, who did a horrible job with this, just a horrible job. I remember the bumper stickers, trust Nate Silver, going into the 2016 election. No. We're a far cry from that. He posted this bubble chart yesterday.
Ooh, pretty.
And kind of talking about how there's a lack of diversity, or at least with the interpretation, diversity of thought on X. He wrote, these are the Twitter X accounts with the most engagement so far in 2026. I suppose I had some intuition for how bad it was, but geez, this is what you get when the ecosystem is broken. Tracks like engagements, likes, retweets, stuff like that. Few issues that clearly make this wrong. Well, number one, Elon unbanned a lot of accounts, right? This is going to be biased when you then see the left abandon X for bluer skies somewhere else. The left decided to leave X. It's not that they've been banned. People were unbanned, and the left said, oh, I don't want to have to deal with people who were wrongfully banned, so they left.
Hi, everyone. I have loved connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years. But it's time for me to leave the platform.
I'm getting off.
Gross.
I'm getting off today. I'm tired of now
controlled depends.
having had certain kinds of attitudes blocked, and now they're back on.
Hey guys, so
You don't have to watch them. Oh, yeah, this is the person we should listen to.
today I finally did something I've been meaning to do for a while.
Grow hair.
Started therapy.
Once Elon Musk took it over, I feel like he ruined it. The most patriotic thing I could do right
Behind
now
the table?
is to just delete the account.
Wait, there's an additional online hour of The View?
Well, you know what they say, behind every table of dumb ladies is one guy.
Someone said, I need more View. I need to see how the sausage is made. They make it look so easy. Show me how you do it.
And Navarro will show you how the sausage is eaten.
Yes, exactly. Not anymore. Says, I found Ozempic. Hey, but that's your fault. And here's the thing. This is not, it's like if this was the only example we had. Now do Charlie Kirk assassinated. Now do every change my mind we've done, whether it's a milkshake, could be concrete, chocolate, vanilla, or acid. Let's do the UMass, Trigglypuff. Do every single time that conservatives have shown up on campus. Who are the ones screeching and protesting and demanding that they be silenced?
Hey, speaking of people who I would never silence because it's too entertaining, Dr. Naomi Wolf here. Someone posted a picture of, wow, NASA just dropped this view of the moon's far side. One, I don't think that's the far side. I think this person, All Day Astronomy, is misspeaking. You know what? Now that I've read it proper, I feel a bit silly, but yeah, call me ill-informed. I was an English major, but what is the light source? And then, yeah, okay. Now I feel a little bad for even bringing this down. It's early. Forgive me. I misread. See, that's what you get here at the Bear in Mind channel. You get me trying to point out that other people are retarded, and then figuring out that I'm retarded. Oh, wait. Oh, the far side from the other. Okay, see? And then I go here, and then I realize that I'm double retarded because I let them convince me that I was retarded in the first place, which makes me a bigger retard. It's like retardception. Okay. So, yeah, again, the far side of the moon. Especially when the moon is on the sun side of the earth. Which, you know, happens from time to time. That's why you see it up there during the day. Yeah, I need to stop talking about this because I'm sitting here like, oh my God, just shut up. But yeah, this lady, I'm not going to say that she's dumb because I just proved that people have dumb moments in great succession, one after another, right here in real time. Clicking on the video now.
Consistently. You might find one or two outliers, though seriously, I doubt it. You don't see the flip side of that. And the same thing happens online. We're all so used to being insulted, chastised, flagged all the time. Once we have a platform that's somewhat of an even playing field, like, oh, sure, this is great. Because we had to fight for our spot on Facebook, on YouTube, on Google. The left couldn't handle just the basic at replies on X. So they left. And now the institutional left wants to blame the platform itself for the left being pussies. That's the summary.
There are some.
Well, and it's also really funny when you think about how things were before Trump's second election, as far as social media goes. They've even admitted that the government came to them and told them to suppress speech. The Twitter files, and even that robot from Facebook coming out and saying, I can't, Zuckerberg, that's his name. Even him coming out and saying that, yes, he was approached and told to suppress certain topics on Facebook. Which is a big no-no when it comes to free speech. The government can't do that. Now you can say, you know, whatever is illegal. If it's illegal, then yes, 100% you can suppress that. But his fault, and I mean, actual illegal things, not just things people. Reasonable laws is what I'm trying to say. I need to drink more of this coffee that is in front of me. But it happened all the time. But I'm gonna stop talking and sip some coffee, and we're gonna watch more of this.
Sometimes there's right-wing people that will protest some things, but it's usually unwanted wiener in your face,
Right.
Yeah.
or near children, or something like. That's usually it's like, well, hey, we don't think that this book showing
Sounds like
kids
a
how to
bagel.
suck a wiener should be there.
Right.
This is a bad idea.
That's a violation of free speech.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, we usually don't shoot anybody or show up with masks and beat them up. So other leftist celebrities who announced they were leaving X, Mark Hamill, Alyssa Milano, Jamie Lee Curtis, who also said, you can't tell which of my daughters is trans. Yeah, we can.
That's true.
Go back
Have you
to
seen
your
the picture?
TV commercials till you shit your pants.
Yeah.
It depends.
Stephen King
He's
left,
got a kid looking like Michael Myers.
then returned. Then you had a bunch of news outlets that abandoned X. Can someone give me any reason for NPR, PBS, The Guardian to leave one of the major social platforms? Any valid reason other than they are cowards? And I know NPR, I think it's 92% of their employees give to the left. They receive a huge
public.
Yeah.
There's a P in two of those. Public. Like you're supposed to try to reach the public, not one section of the public.
No, here's the thing, too. The left doesn't try and reach the public. They don't actually want to be in the battlefield of arguments. Why? Because they lose. What they want to do is have a third party bomb the whole battlefield. That's what they want. That's what you see with UPenn. They want to control it. They want to put on stipulations. You can say what you want about the right. Consistently, they go, okay, all right, let's do it. It's people on the right who had to start this. I mean, when I came up with the idea, so no one is doing this. That changed my mind on campus. Let's just go do black and white and the gray issues. Talk with anyone in the street. Let's make sure that people can discuss these issues. Let's do a live stream. Let's cover the election. The left doesn't do that. They hit you with copyright claims. They hit you with hate speech violations. Yeah. They create departments to remove conservatives. They don't want to be on the battlefield of ideas. They're not used to it.
Especially publicly like that on X.
Right.
They share an article that's something stupid, some stupid idea about wieners in a locker room, and then right-wing accounts share it and go, look at how stupid this is. Look at how stupid this writer is and this publication is. And then they go, shoot, we look stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to bounce out of here. I think there might be a little bit of an orchestrated element to this, too.
Yes.
They go, hey, if we all get off of this,
exactly,
then we can say, well, it's just a right-wing echo chamber.
Right.
And there's no freedom of ideas on X because people like us aren't there.
That's exactly so here's the game plan, just so you know. About 1 million people right after the 2024 election, right? 1 million leftists left. They left X and they went to Blue Sky, which sucks. There is just try and post something remotely critical on Blue Sky or on Reddit. See what happens.
Yeah.
Respectfully critical, you're gone. So they leave, and they're hoping that when the left comes back into power, and by the way, they will be helped by their useful dummies on the right who say, everyone is all the same, don't vote. As soon as the left attains power, they will label X in places like Rumble sites to be flagged for misinformation or hate speech. And then you'll have legislation. that will curtail that. That is what is going to happen. That is their game plan. Nowhere in the left's game plan, and I've been here since 2008, fighting the left on YouTube. Nowhere in their game plan will you find included arguing ideas. Systemically, you'll find individuals. We're talking about the systemic approach. Number two, another problem with Nate Silver's thing here. There is, by the way, more diversity of thought on the right. So if you look at even his chart, and by the way, there's a bunch of clickbait crap on there too. I get it. It's not something that I look at and I go, oh, these are all great accounts. But they don't all share the same perspective, to be clear. It's not the same as you would find on Blue Sky. So the right has remained pretty consistent. The left has moved further and further and further and further and further left, to the point where when they are in charge of institutions, you have not one but two men beating the hell out of women at the Olympic boxing events. And number three, the graph just has some flat out, like, it's just not correct.
Yeah.
So they listed as neutral Adam Kinzinger, Russia Today,
What?
Al Jazeera, Jimmy Fallon. That's one's just because I don't like him.
The worst one is Adam Kinzinger. He is, I mean, Russia Today, I know you'd think no, but no.
And then they listed as right wing Thomas Massey, Piers Morgan, Jackson Hinkle.
Thomas Massey is right wing. They just don't like him because he stands up against Trump. I mean, does he showboat a bit with it? Yes. But so does Trump. Like, I don't understand why it's okay for one person to do something and not the other. But no, Thomas Massey, he's I don't agree with everything he does, but I absolutely agree with his ability to do so. But calling Piers Morgan right wing just because he's basically stayed the same. Like, he had a couple of quote unquote come to Jesus moments. Yeah, he's not. Jackson Hinkle is certainly not right wing. Candace Owens, she's also not right wing, but she's not really anything. She's just an insane conspiracy theorist with, I don't know, man. There's something crazy behind those eyes. It terrifies me.
Oh, jeez.
Jackson Hinkle.
How's that even possible?
Isn't he a self-proclaimed communist?
Yes.
He simps for Iran. He simps for China. He simps for anybody who sucks.
And I don't even know how he let this go out publicly. Like, right away, if I were just to review it, I'd be like, oh, wait, no, you got to fix that. Why? Well, you have Jackson Hinkle on there as right.
We're going to look stupid.
Yeah. This will look like we don't do any research at all.
No, we're going to look stupid. Again, like, worse than when we said Hillary Clinton was going to win by like 15 points or whatever it was.
Right.
I would love to see Jackson Hinkle correct it.
Yes, that would be.
Actually,
I'm more neutral.
I don't know how he talks.
His nibbles on the wiener. According to my research, if the left is calling X,
According to my research, Chinese penises are smaller.
and then he gets the wrong one, he's like, I knew I should have stayed home today.
Work sucks.
Magic School Bus to the Flintstones.
Transition.
It's a living. So the left, if they're calling X an echo chamber for the right, what do they call this? To be clear,
Looks like a good time.
the right also has their own bathhouses.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, I've been with men, and I am not ashamed of that at all.
Here's the difference. Outside of Gerald, not one of those noted homosexuals will be offended by that joke.
No.
On
They're
the
going to
right.
want to go, wait, I don't remember that.
Now I know why the Photoshop wasn't ready for run-through.
Pull the fast one on you.
Yeah,
there, Joe.
it's not ready.
It was,
I guess
yeah,
we'll review
it was
later.
ready Friday.
Yeah.
But this is when
I
the
hate all
left
of you.
attains power, free speech dies. If free speech is allowed to thrive, the left dies. It doesn't mean that it comes without complications. Of course it does. Anytime you allow more freedom, and certainly freedom of speech, you're going to get more arguments, you're going to get more conflict, you're going to get more bad actors, you are going to get more misinformation, but you also are going to get the only self-correction mechanism that we know of at this point in time. And that is people armed with the truth being able to correct those.
Just real quick. Ed Krasenstein, another Jim, one of two retards with the same moniker of a last name, The hypocrisy of MAGA summed up in 2 cat turd posts. Whatever Trump does becomes the right move in their minds. Which I agree. There are a lot of people who Trump do thing automatically good, even though yesterday thing was bad because Trump say thing bad. This guy says in just 1 year ago, just about, no more U.S. involvement in foreign wars, and now he says happy power plant and bridge Eve. Yeah, and that's why you shouldn't look. If you're only against this war, don't say broad statements like no more U.S. involvement in foreign wars. I understand people get impassioned by things, but at the same time, this guy's moniker is Cat Turd. Why are you using him as a serious source when you can find people who are serious commentators who have done this very same thing. You're defeating your own argument. This is another one of the things that drives me crazy about what's become of the left is everything they do defeats their own argument and movement. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, putting someone whose name is Cat Turd as an example of the right as a whole, it's funny because I can see, they're just like little turds. But it defeats your own argument to anyone who is serious at all. Not that anyone who is serious would actually take into account anything that the Krasensteins say. The same as no one should really take into account what I say. But I'm slightly more serious than the Krasensteins, which says not a whole lot for them.
Those who are speaking lies. The left has no ability to do that. That's the big difference. In other words, you'll see people on the right say, and by the way, the French Legion in Egypt, and they're the ones who killed Charlie Kirk. You'll see some people, but then someone will go, no, hold on, that doesn't make sense, and they will correct them. The left will say the Hunter Biden laptop is disinformation, and all platforms will ban it. The left will say Donald Trump said very fine people, referring to neo-Nazis, and none of them question it. And they won't even allow a guest on the platforms to go, hold on a second, rewind that tape about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
They have no correction.
And that's the thing. And they would say the very fine people thing years after, even after it had been disproven broadly. And Biden still said it in his presidential run in 2020. It was a lie. Yes, he said very fine people. But like literally right after that, he goes, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists who should be condemned completely. Literally 5 more seconds on either end of the video puts it in a new light. And that was one of the things that made me be like, what are we doing? Am I a Trump supporter? No. But fuckers like this keep making me have to say things because I will not be against someone based off a lie. President do good thing, me say good job president. President do bad thing, me say the fuck president. I don't care what color tie they're wearing. I only care if they do thing that good for country or me like personally.
Mechanism for misinformation. So let's assume misinformation, just for the sake of argument, exists on both sides. It's 50-50, left and right. Who do you think is going to be able to correct it? Which side will be able to, if eventually, get to the truth or the right answer? It's not possible on the left. That's why they evade speech, debates, open dialogue. And the right lives for it. We are not the same. And we have a country that is distinctly right-wing in comparison to pretty much all other countries, certainly as it relates to individual freedoms, that people flock to because of that. Hey, if you're still watching this, you may be one of the 6 million or so subscribers.
But yeah, shit like that is the reason.
Oh my god! So this literally is the
that
moon.
I had to step
Holy
away from
shit.
the party. That was hardcore.
Not at all excited.
I'm not excited.
It started with them putting Kerry against Bush and making Bush look intelligent, and then I stopped caring for a bit. I was just like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it was because I had stopped smoking weed at the time, and I realized that my friends were retarded. It never got any better, but I love them.
That NASA's going to the moon again? No, I think it's stupid.
Everything out there is dead. Everything down here is alive. Everything out there is
you're
grey
barely
and
alive.
black. Everything down here is green and blue. And we're wasting all this energy and time and technology and thought going somewhere where there's nothing alive.
See this woman? Can you imagine?
That's not what it's about. Look, if there's anything in space, yes, it's scientific endeavors have to be met, or else we will cease as a society. And also, exploration has to be met, especially on a grandiose scale, from leaving the planet. It's as harrowing as crossing the sea was 500 years ago, 600 years ago. It's the final frontier. But yeah, it's about moving mankind forward in a way that makes people wonder.
Imagine how much better her life would be if she didn't know what electricity was. Unfortunately, by an aberration of fate, another Middle Ages peasant has spawned in the 21st century.
We go to space, we get new innovations, we bring them back to kill each other with.
That's not what?
It's true.
It's not true. We've never come back from space with something to kill each other with. This is retarded. Then this is why you shouldn't let just anybody on the news.
It's true.
They have no...
It's true.
What? That's not...
Like, listen to this again.
It's true.
Okay, sorry.
Century.
We go to space, we get new innovations, we bring them back to kill each other with.
That's not... What?
It's true. It's true.
They have no concept.
It's not true.
Whenever kids see a rocket ship flying to the fucking moon, and they look up every night and they see the moon, and then they could think, hold up, somebody fucking went there. That is inspiring. We need more astronauts as celebrities, and we need less TikTokers, and frankly, less streamers as celebrities.
We were convinced that one day we'd find life in space, and increasingly, gallopingly, the consensus has built that there isn't anything alive. And I just think the pure tragedy of spending all this resource, $100 trillion and some...
$100 trillion? Why? What do you want to have it sent to a bunch of Pakistani rape gangs instead? That'd be a better idea.
I just think it's terrible.
Also, Sky News on the day of the launch. What is this?
Yeah, and they are going for all humanity this time, you know? Apollo was all white men, and this time it's not. And I think that really speaks volumes for the journey that NASA has been on. And this is a much more representative crew.
It just feels...
You know, and there are two levels to this shit. There's the day that you can have someone who isn't white doing a thing, and people point it out. And then there's a day where you have a person who isn't white doing a thing, and nobody points it out. We're always so focused on, oh, good job, not white person did this. Good job, high five, good for you, little buddy. It's so condescending. And then they'll post things like, oh, hey, if only Charlie Kirk was alive to see this. He wasn't put there because he was black. He was put there because he was the best person for the job. And it clearly shows. This has been one of the most successful missions so far. It's not over yet. Knocking on my desk. But yeah. Anyone who's posting that stuff, Krasenstein's looking at you. You clearly only watched the clip that was the gotcha clip. You didn't watch the entire thing, or even the entire thought process. You didn't let him finish his thought. And I wasn't even a fan. But when someone tell me thing, I say, hey, where's the video that this clip came from? And I go to find it in the longer video, and then I pull back about 5 minutes. Well, I started off at a minute, depending on what part of the engagement that's from. But anyway.
So bad. Imagine dedicating 30 years of your life to being the absolute pinnacle of your field. You're going to the moon, and people are like, look at he's black. Oh, we got black people going to the moon now.
Exactly.
We'll be out of communication for about 40 minutes.
You can see it, bro. Look, that's the
Beautiful view
Earth.
Of a crescent moon. And
That's
a
the
crescent
Earth. The
30
secret-
seconds now until we expect loss of signal.
They don't want to show the secret moon base. And you can see, look is right there on the side. That's literally the Earth, bro. It's despawning. They're getting out of line of sight.
And we have confirmation of loss of signal of the Orion spacecraft as it flies behind the moon. It's the first time in over 50 years that we have humans completely unreachable by anyone else on Earth.
We got him, my fellow Americans, over the past several
It's pretty
hours.
awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
You won one.
I don't.
Europe is.
I don't particularly care about it, but like when I see little clips, like I don't care enough to go and look for a clip about space. If it happens to pop up on my timeline, I'll just be like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm taking a shit anyway. Click. Sorry, I know that's crass. And they'll be like, oh, hey, it's pretty neat. You know, the inner 10-year-old, my inner child. It's just like, ooh. But anyway, continue.
It's gay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. To start.
Right.
I love how I did that little giggle, and then I click play, and the first thing that he says is gay.
Europe sucks. We're better than Europe. That's why we left. They're worse now than when we left them, if you can believe it. So they can't even possibly comprehend, like this weekend, the United States, our military, they pulled off a pretty incredible rescue mission. Not only recovering just one, but two downed pilots. And I know that a lot of people that'll be circling this going, see, you're sending your children to die for Israel stuff. But I don't know if you know this. Historically, until pilots often died. Did you know that? That was often a thing. Like if you go watch old war films and dogfights, very rarely did pilots, almost all of them, live as we see today, because we go to unbelievable lengths, and nothing is foolproof, to try and ensure the safety of our pilots. And then, if something goes wrong, we send out absolute assassins, specialists, who get them back anyway. So, Europe, what's the problem?
What's wrong with that? What's the problem?
And I'll give you just sort of a foreshadow here. I don't think that those in Europe, and especially even if you look, Canada's basically Europe, it's just separated by water, but it's still just as gay.
And look, shit like this, we go to live to the other retard Krasenstein. He says, we'll Trump taco tonight. Taco is something that people like Krasenstein came up with that says Trump always chickens out. What part of anything that's happened in the last 6 months says that he's going to chicken out? Y'all have said he's going to chicken out of everything. And this, again, it's the most disingenuous shit. Everything that they said he was going to chicken out of, he didn't. He just took his time. He waited for whatever reason. Whether it was strategy or whether it was whatever, he had to get it approved or whatnot. He hasn't chickened out of anything. The only thing he hasn't done that he said he was going to do was stuff that people went through the legal processes and got him to stop doing. Or people who overreached their own legal hand, hard lefty activist judges going against these things, and they've been overturned. It baffles me how people will just take an old saying and be like, "Oh, is he gonna chicken out?" And also, he bluffs. Well, he doesn't really bluff, but I mean, he could bluff, but he hasn't. He's done all the things that he said he was going to do. And for those of you who said that he, like I said, you can love the action or you can hate it, but you can't say that the man doesn't do what he's going to say. I don't know why I'm making all these duh motions when my camera's not on.
It's like what was that movie, The Happening? It's like the bees or the wind. It's like the gay traveled
Well, they're close because the globe, at the top of the globe, Canada gets closer to Europe, and it's easy.
Yeah, the land bridge theory.
Yeah,
Instead of
right.
Eskimos and Indians, it's just gay Canadians from Europe.
The ice shelf.
Yeah, Alberta notwithstanding, that's okay, you guys are cool. They don't value human. Look, 5% of all deaths in Canada are euthanasia. Look at what's going on in Europe. They don't value human life to the same degree that we do, so they can't understand why our military would go in and save our own people. So that's the one group we're talking about right now, not too happy about this rescue mission. The gay Europeans.
Europe's message is clear. This is not their war.
We are unstoppable.
That's fun. It's been in my head all morning now. It's a tough song to sing. It's not one that you can just sing in the shower around people. They think you're angry. So this weekend,
Wait, in the shower around people?
Whoa.
Well, you know, I like a
Like at the Y?
Well, you got a helicopter.
I like to verify how clean I am. See?
Yeah.
Not a Y, but hey, does this look like a Q to you?
So,
Doctor, your opinion?
Noodles has to ask for
get the
assistance.
sigmoidoscope. This weekend, 2 airmen were rescued inside Iran, for those who missed it.
This was an incredibly complex and dangerous operation for the rescue team and for that missing Air Force aviator who had evaded
What's keeping this person moving?
capture behind enemy lines for days. But in the end, the news we had all been hoping for, that the second crew member is now out of Iran, seriously wounded, according to the president, but he is safe.
Now, you know when people say, hey, can we find when the left says they want to find common ground with you, and that includes most of gay Europe, they're lying to you. Because this is one where we should find common ground. Like, hey, right? Great? American? Right?
Fantastic.
Isn't this fantastic? No, they're upset about it. And the reason they're upset about it is because President Trump is obviously happy about it. So he posted this on Truth Social. He said, "We got him, my fellow Americans. Over the past several hours, the United States military pulled off one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history from one of our incredible crew member officers who also happens to be a highly respected colonel and who I am thrilled to let you know is now safe and sound."
I mean, I think they normally put it together.
We will never leave an American warfighter behind. I have to do all the captions.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact that we were able to pull off both of these operations without a single American killed or even wounded just proves once again that we have achieved overwhelming air dominance and superiority over the Iranian skies. Now, I wanted to ask you, Josh, because of your experience, this is, maybe it's not the most, but it's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. The thing that stood out to me about the impressiveness of it is because we've had great rescue operations in the past, stuff like
the best part was it was mostly Israel that did it.
with Marcus Luttrell. We've had
didn't really
Jessica
have to do
Lynch in
anything.
Iraq, the Battle of Mogadishu.
Yeah.
But with this operation, the most impressive
least
thing
as
is
far as land
zero
movement.
casualties on our side. Zero, and some on theirs. We don't know the full number yet. But yeah, I don't know if we're going through the whole
we're gonna go
timeline of it, but it's very, very impressive that we were able to create a diversion operation and able to get our guys there. Had problems, accounted for the problems, got out, took care of the problem they left on the ground, all while nobody getting hurt. And very impressive on the weapons officer.
Yeah.
He scaled a 7,000-foot ridgeline.
Jeez.
Probably not. I don't think he climbed 7,000 feet. He was probably somewhere along the ridgeline already. But still, very impressive. Almost got hit a couple times, couple near misses. And
Stop bragging, said Europe.
So this is.
You think you're so good because you save your soldiers?
we do.
That's some kind of Finnish.
Because that's who we are. That's our culture. People say we don't have that is our culture. General McKenzie said this on I think ABC this weekend. He said it takes a year to build an aircraft, but it takes 200 years to build a military tradition where we do not abandon our soldiers.
Right.
And that doesn't hit deep with you. I don't know what else. Well, Europe can't understand that, I guess.
Well, we'll get some of their. So on
Well,
Friday,
they're
was the
usually too busy
F-15 was
giving
shot
up.
down. The pilot was located, extracted immediately. Like you said, it was 36 hours. The weapons officer was hiding in the mountains.
At least, yeah.
36. There's got to be a movie, I'm sure, at some point. More.
Yeah, I don't know if Alan Richardson can fit in that F-15, but
we'll try it.
And the rescue mission cost like 200 to 300 million, depending on what estimate you use, and if you count the downed F-15. So this brings us to gay Europe's response.
We don't have a stinger for that?
The French-Polish commentator, I don't know if it's Polish or
Yeah, we
French,
need one.
Daniel Foubert, wrote on X,
Foubert.
lose all this to rescue one pilot and call it your greatest military success of all time. Guys will literally be complete losers, but say, hey, we behaved like heroes. You can't understand that.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? I mean, you're French, so you're most likely a and so that's probably why you don't understand.
I would say the losers are the ones bleeding in the sand.
Yeah, so would I don't know if you can know, but we killed some of their guys.
At least 9.
Yeah, at least 9. That's why this morning, or it was yesterday, I had read like 7, then I saw 9, and it's like sitting outside of McDonald's watching the numbers change. You're just like, oh, we just keep serving them.
That's and I get it.
That was pretty good.
They got to get a sign at the Pentagon.
I get it. They don't have a lot of planes in France. That's fine. I understand that this would be a big loss to you. It's not to us. Like these are just planes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then he got, of course, rightfully dumped on, and he responded with, "You literally send thousands of people to death, but you do everything you can to rescue one guy and show your public opinion that human life matters more than meeting war objectives quickly. What? Easy, hypocritical war marketing the Americans will always buy." Okay, speaking of war, tell me the last time you won one. You know what? It doesn't matter, because you don't have to win them. You're welcome.
Yeah, this guy says you save one guy. You think this is the greatest military operation of your history? No, our greatest military operation in our history was landing on your beaches and liberating your country.
That's true. Yeah.
Which one? Poland, France? Either one, dude.
Those were tourist beaches.
Which World War would you like? I got examples of both.
Get out of here, dude.
Literally send thousands of people to death, but you do everything. Is exactly getting foundation. Help! Help! And here's the thing. This matters because the left always, and they'll point to a different country depending on what's. They always want to compare us to other countries, and they always start off with the premise that we are inferior. We're inferior to France, for example, because they have more leisure. They call it work-life balance. I call it not giving the world anything of note in about a century. They'll point to Japan and say, see, look, they don't have any guns and they have no violence. Well, sure, first off, they just count every single Yakuza death as a suicide, but it's also a people under an imperialist nation, and it's entirely homogenous.
They're also not getting invaded because of our bases there.
Right. Also, you want to follow their immigration policy? We covered that last week. I believe that the United States is still the greatest country in the world. I think that we have a lot to fix or improve. These people don't. But if someone is going to tell you, you Americans are stupid, or you guys, then they need to present you with an alternative. You know what that alternative would be with like Foubert. And I'm using that term very strictly here.
Foubert?
Yes, Foubert. Foubert.
Oh, man, that's Pooh Bear's cousin.
Yes.
He's his French cousin.
Foubert Foubert
But if I want the honey, I have to go get it myself.
That's right.
Oh, no.
Oh, bother.
Can't the rabbit just bring it to me?
More than 6 feet off the
Tigger's
ground.
smoking a cigarette.
These guys can't comprehend it. It's not even in their mind to think about the one man. It's not even. F that guy. We have a plane, or we have to protect. And they go, it's more important than a successful mission. What mission was lost because of that?
Right.
Because of this rescue mission. Nothing. That pilot, he's going to be treated. And guess what? He's going to be, or that weapons officer, he's going to be back in another fighter jet.
Yep.
And look, this part. Trump. Okay, so Trump gloated a lot on Easter Sunday and said, "Praise be to Allah." It was sarcastic. Clearly. It was clearly sarcastic. You know how sometimes it's hard to read sarcasm in text form? This was not one of those cases. At all. At all. Do I agree with him saying this and mocking someone's religion on a quote on a holy day from another religion? No. But calling this a war crime or saying that Christians should be mad because he praised Allah on Easter, acting like he said it seriously, is retarded. You can say that it's disrespectful and that he shouldn't do it 100%. I'll agree with you. Like this is the thing. People are taking the most retarded argument on anything. It drives me crazy. Like I'm literally shaking. If I wasn't taking a couple things to calm my nerves, legal things. But if I wasn't taking like L-theanine and shit like that to calm myself, I would be having a Lewis Black like bullshit fucking psych out. But anyway, continuing.
It's going to be killing more of those
right back at it.
Islamo-fascists. That's a lot of fun. By the way, also, Foubert did reach out to the pilot's father specifically for comment. Here's how it went.
There he is now. Let's go ask him some questions. Excusez-moi, monsieur. Do you think all this was worth saving your son's life?
Don't you dare attempt to go in my business.
Couldn't comprehend that either.
Oh no, we are in his business.
That is behaving like a hero?
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
I was wearing glasses. Not to be outdone by French faggotry, British radio caller actually said it would be good or better if Iran had caught the weapons officer. These people don't share your values.
I think it would be good if Iran captured this American airman.
Because?
To use him as a bargaining chip to stop this madness. Stop this. Trump has lost the plot. And it's just out of control. I mean, this war now is not about Iran or the Iranians. It's about American interests, other interests. It's not about the Iranian people or Iran.
Well, I didn't think I'd take a call from anyone saying, I hope the Iranians catch the airman and use him as a chip. But you think that would be an indirect way to...
When they lose one of their men in action, crashes, they will do what? They send in a whole team to rescue. They send in helicopters.
They're already doing it. I mean, they've done it. They're doing it.
They do to recover it. So it's a big issue for America and American people. So unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I don't really hope it. I don't think he'd be mistreated by Iran as well.
You don't think he'd be mistreated by Iran?
I'd probably set him up with a nice cup of tea.
Yeah. What?
Use him as a bargaining chip. I'm sorry, you guys called them fries.
What?
Can I say this? Will this be a threat of not a threat of violence? It's just me speaking.
Okay.
I hope that man gets the kicked out of him. How about that? I hope he gets the kicked out of him by someone telling him that he's treating him nicely. This is the level of delusion that we are facing. You can disagree with foreign, of course, but these were issues that we discussed for a very long time in this country and didn't demand impeachment or claim betrayal. Let's go to the alternative. It's about American interests, isn't it? Where do you get your energy, you limey? It's more about when was the last time you met your contractual amount in NATO spending? This is actually about the interest of the globe. But let's just say we don't. Iran, who will treat this American military service member very well. Let's just say they capture him. Let's just say that we stop right now. What is the alternative? The Iranian regime continues. They continue to build up missiles. They continue to build up drones. They create an impenetrable dome, and they can do whatever they want, and enrich uranium, and eventually build a nuclear weapon. It's just a matter of time. And I know people say, well, we've been hearing this for decades. Yeah, well, it's been thwarted for decades, just so you guys know. That's also a really stupid thing people say. We've been hearing this for decades. You know that their centrifuges were hacked, right? Like there's been a lot of steps taken to stop them. They definitely could have gotten here faster. So in the alternative world, we pack up, we leave. Okay. The Iranian people, anyone there who, by the way, showed support for the American operation or anyone who voiced discontent with the regime will be executed, women and children included. First, they'll be ceremoniously raped as a form of punishment, and Iran goes on to being a threat to the rest of the world. You may say that you don't think they're a lot of a threat. They're much of a threat. Fine. But the alternative right now is that. And then as far as the parties, they'll send all these people in. I tell you this because I was raised in Canada. It really is an inferiority complex. They wouldn't be able to rescue their people, many of these militaries. It's not within their capabilities. So all they can offer is criticism.
Or they're too scared. Or they don't care. One silver lining out of this whole thing is that it is good to know that the world knows. Mm-hmm. We know that the world knows who we are. and what we'll do to get our people back.
Yeah.
Anything. So go ahead.
Yep. And
we know what's coming.
We value life in a way that these people don't. I mean, let's just compare Europe. We can go to we've told you Canada was 5% of all deaths. Spain, right? They're a recent euthanasia story. It's not just Canada. This was last week. It was Noelia Castillo was granted assisted suicide after being gang raped and left paralyzed. So you have these countries that welcome their rapists with open arms in the name of tolerance. And then when it's too much to bear for a woman who never should have been put in that position in the first place, well, they'll grant you the sweet mercy of death while they also don't pay for their own defense and complain about how we do it. This is where I'm a nationalist. I'm America first, but I'm pretty old school in the sense that anytime you get a freebie to kill some commies or Islamofascists, I say you take it. If it's a layup, you take it. I do not live in a world where there are no threats to the United States outside of needing more Social Security or entitlements. I don't know when that became something on the horseshoe right, where it's like, well, we have money for this, but how about daycare? I don't want us to spend a bunch of money on daycare. I think that the military is a legitimate role of government, and I don't think free for people who don't contribute and pay no federal income tax is. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean that I support needless wars. I don't. I support military action when appropriate. That remains to be determined, as swiftly, violently, and effectively as possible. And we can have that discussion. I can't have that discussion with anyone who thinks that the Iranian regime would treat American soldiers well, or any person who refuses to submit to Islam well, or that there are no threats. Globally, outside of the United States, these people believe that the United States is the biggest global threat. They'll say the United States is the biggest state of terror. It's the biggest global threat, and then complain that we value life to the degree that we will spend hundreds of millions of dollars to save one, while they execute their own people for the crime of being gang raped, likely by migrants. Europe, why don't you sit this one out, because you've really not done anything all that great for a century. Anything else? I miss anything?
Nope.
All right. YouTube's...
And just another example of what this retard is saying. We're going to go here. So this person says, high time to kick the U.S. out of NATO. And me, being the guy I am, said, yeah, it's like kicking Iron Man, the guy that funds it, out of the Avengers, or kicking Batman out of the Justice League. It makes no sense. We literally, our contributions to NATO funds NATO. Like a majority of it. No one else has kept up with their contributions until recently. And that's one thing. Look, I don't like his domestic policy a lot, but as far as foreign policy goes, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Especially compared to the last guy. Biden did like 2 or 3 things that I like, and other than that, it all sucked. All of it. He was just as, if not more divisive than Trump. His domestic policy somehow sucked worse. I liked Obama during his first term. I never liked Bush. I like certain things about Clinton. I don't like that he set up CPAC. Is that what it is? Where all the jobs go to China and Mexico. I don't like that he helped push that. But yeah, saying to kick us out of NATO. One, NATO shouldn't exist. It should have no longer existed. I'd say about 10 years after the fall of the Soviet Union, it really shouldn't exist when the UN is there. That being said, the UN sucks too. But anyway, continuing on, apparently ABC put out a thing.
This morning, time is winding down to President Trump's deadline of 8 o'clock Eastern tonight for a deal to be reached to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or he says the U.S. will launch a 4-hour blitz attack on Iran.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again.
Iran calling Trump delusional, saying his threats will have no impact on offensive operations. New video online shows one of Iran's multiple strikes in the region targeting energy infrastructure and oil facility in Bahrain. You can see a failed attempt at intercepting that strike. Ahead of tonight's deadline, President Trump insists the people of Iran want the U.S. to target their bridges and power plants if necessary.
There would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom.
But critics question Trump ramping up his rhetoric, including his profanity-laced message to Iran Sunday.
This is a mockery not just of Islam, it's a mockery of Christianity. To send out a tweet with the F word on Easter morning promising the murder of civilians and then saying praise be to Allah without explaining any of it, you are mocking me and every other Christian.
Why no one should take Tucker Carlson seriously. Yeah, Tucker Carlson, he's bought and paid for, 100%.
Because we're Christians.
Meanwhile, we're learning more about the dramatic operation to rescue a downed U.S. airman missing in Iran for 48 hours.
It was critical that we locate the downed aviator as quickly as possible, while at the same time keeping our enemies misdirected.
That colonel hiding in the crevice of a mountain.
He was injured quite badly and stranded in an area teeming with terrorists. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location.
His emergency beacon was activated only after sporadic communication to avoid alerting enemy forces. The U.S. launching 150 warplanes and flying specialized helicopters to reach the rugged mountains. President Trump upset about an alleged leak to the media about the fighter jet that was shot down. He's now threatening to have the journalist responsible jailed.
We're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. When they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life.
Again, the president's deadline to reach a deal with Iran is 8 Eastern tonight, and Trump has...
Brother, that hair is horrible. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. Polish your head up nicely. Come on, man.
Stressed any deal must include reopening the Strait of Hormuz.
Hey, welcome.
All right, we're not going to have time for the last one. That's fine. But look, I'm all for transparency, 100%. I am all for transparency, unless it puts our soldiers at risk, unless it puts people at risk. And then I'm like, can't you just break it when it happens? Now, if the government is doing something horrible, then yeah, leak that shit before it happens. But military action, as far as saving someone, as far as not letting the enemy know that person is down in their area, as far as broad scale, anyone who saw it would have known. Anyone who they could have contacted. But again, you have to think on these things. And yes, do I agree with the person who leaked the story going to jail? Absolutely. Absolutely. You put people at risk. You put more people on that airman who's down over there. I spent time in the military. I didn't much care for my time in the military, but you don't do that. It's just wrong. And if you can't admit that it's wrong because Trump says that it's wrong, there's something wrong with you. The same as I say to anyone who agrees with everything that the man says, have some thought for yourself, okay? You should not wake up in the morning, whether it be for or against, go see what Trump said about something and have that be the basis of how you feel about it. If Trump does something good, good job, Trump. If Trump does something bad, the fuck, Trump. That should be it. You can have more agreements with them than disagreements, or more disagreements than agreements. But if you agree with everything or disagree with everything, then you have no thought for yourself. Okay, you're just on a team, and I mean, sure, you're ride or die, whatever, but you have no real thought. And disagreements are, honestly, if you can be friends with someone who disagrees with you on a lot of things, that's a strong friendship. It is. If you can, especially if it's someone who you've known forever, who you may have split ways with for 5-10 years, come back together, and still had that strong bond that you had before, despite whatever differences may have grown in that time, that's a strong bond. Don't let a few petty political disagreements get between you and real life. And on that note, I'm going to sign off from here. Guys, I want to appreciate everyone who's popped in and out of here. Even this guy who's trying to sell me something or something, I don't know. That's a great thing about Kick. People will pop in trying to sell services or whatever. I will not sign up for Nesna. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know. I don't care. Thank you for the engagement, though. But yeah, anyway, this is Alfie